Hello everyone, you are watching FYI Media. I'm Arshdeep with you. As you know, we're having elections on October 24th. BC elections, and you can participate in advanced poll from 15 to 21st. And we are providing you all the information about the candidates, about different issues. Today, we are going to meet BC NDP candidate from Surrey-Cloverdale, Mike Starchuk. He was a fire prevention officer, and he served the community for 32 years as a firefighter, as first responders, and public safety until 2014. After 2014, he elected as a city councillor, and now he is in race to become MLA from Surrey-Cloverdale. Let's welcome Mike.
Thank
Mike,
you, Thank you.
Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well.
How's campaign going?
It is a different campaign than the municipal campaign. And around the COVID-19 stuff, it makes it even more different than it was before. But the phone doesn't stop ringing. The people that are there to deal with even a social media kind of thing, it's all there. So there's a lot of interaction with the people, and it's a lot of good interaction with people.
Mike, we met in the municipal elections, and after municipal elections, you want to be an MLA. So how you decide, how you make decision to run as MLA?
Well, actually, in Surrey-Cloverdale, where I'm living now, I saw the changes that were coming to the community underneath the BC NDP government with John Horgan. You know, the schools that were starting to pop up, and then I got wind that there was a hospital coming, and that just got myself all excited about the possibility of having that opportunity that was there. And when I say I got excited, it was because years ago, in 2009, you know, there was a piece of property that was in Panorama next door to us, and there was a bunch of people that stood there and said, this is where the next hospital is going to be. And then in 2014, as a councillor, I watched that land get sold, and then it was redeveloped into something else. And I thought to myself, I have to be part of this government. I want to be part of what's going to take place, because I want to preserve this hospital that's coming to my neighborhood. I want to be part of that. And when we see the schools pop up, I'm just absolutely want to be part of making sure that the pathway that we're going down is to continue to build these schools, and we haven't taken that backward step that I'm afraid that Andrew Wilkinson and the Liberals will do.
That's why you chose the NDP to go with. You talked about hospital. So hospital is a big issue now in this election, because Andrew Wilkinson yesterday, he promised Cloverdale Hospital as well as BC NDP John Horgan. They're already working on a hospital project. So what do you think the hospital will be in Surrey in next 4 years, or maybe next coming years?
Well, it's got a business plan that's in place right now. The land is set aside. It's right across the street from KPU in Cloverdale.
And land is there.
The land is there.
Because opposition is accusing that there is no land.
No, the land is there. The province of BC owns the land that's there. There's a transfer that has to take place. There'll be a land use thing that has to take place. But what's interesting is if Andrew Weaver is talking about building a hospital, I mean, let's just look at the track record. He said he was going to build a hospital in 2009 and then sold it in 2014. Now he's saying he's going to build a hospital. I don't know how we can trust somebody that's already sold that land once before. That's why it's important for me to get into the government, to get elected as a BC NDP member for Surrey-Cloverdale, so that there's a team that's there to ensure for the people of Surrey-Cloverdale and for the region that we get that hospital that's there, because we can't forget that it's also a regional cancer center as well. So anybody that's in that area in Surrey-Cloverdale, you know, if they're getting treatment, the people that were driving into Vancouver to get their cancer treatment, just think of the hours a month that you would save rather than being in a vehicle where you could stay at home and recover from your treatments. That is a big bonus. I mean, that's why I want to be there in Surrey-Cloverdale with the BC NDP and John Horgan's team, because we want to preserve what we say that we're going with. The land's there, a business plan is there, and there's an architectural company that's been hired to start doing the drawings. So that tells everybody that it's there and it's coming. There's no backing out of this.
You were a public safety officer before. As a public safety officer and a Surrey resident, you will say that there is a need of public safety in Surrey as well. We don't feel safe when we are in Surrey. So that's why in municipal election in 2019, I must say 2018, so they win because they kept a promise that there will be a Surrey police. You think that RCMP and Surrey police issue will involve in BC election, the provincial election?
Well, public safety has always been in the forefront for me for well over 40 years. I mean, you know, I've lived in the city for over 50 years, so I understand how people feel and how they want to have their safety at the top of that list that's there. And whether or not it's a provincial issue or not, it's interesting that the BC Liberals have made it a provincial issue in the last few weeks. There was nothing that was said by Andrew Wilkinson or any of the MLAs prior to it other than there's a process in place and they were going to respect that process. And now, as early as yesterday, Marvin Hunt said that he would stop the process. And I'm not sure what laws that are available to him are, because I can tell you that the BC NDP, they use the laws. The city of Surrey was a city of over 5,000 people, and they have the right to use the law to ask for their own police force. They put their proposal there to the BC government. They said, okay, you can proceed to the next step, and that was forming a police board. For whatever reason, other than they're very, it's chaos, for lack of a better term, where they are reaching out looking for votes and saying, we're going to have a referendum that's non-binding, and we're going to have the people pay for that. And I'm not sure where the legislation works that way, because it shouldn't be the provincial government telling a municipal government how to spend their money. We as the NDP government, we want to respect that they have the right to do what they're doing, but we want to make sure it is a very transparent system. The police board is formed. They're the ones that are charged to making sure that there's money for it and that public safety is paramount. As hopefully the next MLA for Surrey-Cloverdale, I'll be in a position to make sure that that transparency is there and that what's coming forward is in fact going to be the safest thing for the citizens of Surrey.
As you know that there is another municipal issue that is dragging in the provincial election as well, which is a Skytrain issue. So both parties are promising to make a Skytrain from Surrey to Langley. So what do you think, because Mayor Doug McCullen, he said there is no money, so provincial government is not giving the money to build a Skytrain in Surrey as they promised in last elections. But now there are another promise that there is a Skytrain from Surrey to Langley if any party will elect. What is your take on the Skytrain project?
Well, the $1.6 billion was always there. It was always earmarked from a federal perspective and from a provincial perspective as well. The provincial perspective was 40% of the money was going to be available for that Skytrain that was there. Yesterday's announcement was by John Horrigan to say that we are going to fund it completely all the way to Langley, another $1.5 billion, so a $3.1 billion overall budget for that, and that the province was going to fund that money up front. And they've been working with the federal government and trying to come up with a formula that's there, and hopefully it will be as similar as what the other one. I mean, we're going to try to get as much as we can from the federal government. We expect completely for them to be part of the partnership that was there, no different than the first part of Skytrain was as well. The idea behind all of that, from a provincial point of view, is now we can start it in Surrey Centre, and we can have it run all the way into Langley, and we don't do it in phases, so to speak, where it stops and goes here, and then a number of years it goes a little bit farther. That we have the ability to, for those people, and for those people that are going to be working on it, I mean, the jobs that they're going to have are going to be extended for probably 5 years. So when they're working over here, they're going to continue working on down the line until it gets into Langley. So what the Premier's promise and commitment was that we have the funding that's there. We'll put it in place. We don't have to worry about what happens. That's the part that's most amazing to me, is that we've done that. I'm not sure if Andrew Wilkinson would be looking at those kinds of things that are there in that far in the budget. I don't know whether or not he understands that it's the working class person that rides that Skytrain from Surrey to Langley, or in fact further. I mean, I don't know whether Andrew Wilkinson and his team ever think that somebody that's at the top 2% of the earning is going to jump on a Skytrain in Langley and go downtown Vancouver. That's probably not there. And that's why John Horgan and his team are focused around the people that are working. Skytrain will have a lot of young families. They'll have a lot of seniors that'll be around it, and we have to have access for those people that can't afford a $200,000 Beamer kind of thing. So that's the person that's going to be riding it. That's the person that I want to represent.
Mike, you will. I think you are going to run from Surrey-Cloverdale, right? So what issues you want to address if you will elect in these elections?
Well, first and foremost, we want to make sure that hospital is secured. We don't need Andrew Wilkinson and their government coming in there and scrapping that and selling the land like they did the last time. Schools. There are so many young families in the Surrey-Cloverdale area. Surrey-Cloverdale, I mean, it encompasses Clayton and Guildford and Fleetwood. And there are a lot of young families that are in that area that are there living in townhouses or condos or suites or things like that. And we want to make sure that the school system is kept up to where they are. There's been 18 new schools or upgraded schools in Surrey in the last 3 years. And if I take a look at the previous 3 years, one. The population of Surrey, I mean, what are we at? About 15,000 people a year that are coming in there.
That's true.
So during that 3-year time that was there before the BC NDP government was there, we increased the population by 30 or 40,000, and we built one school to accommodate that. Now we're finally catching up. I mean, we know that there's going to be 8,900 spots that we're going to fulfill in the next little while. We know that we have to have that kind of infrastructure for the students that are there, so that they're not spending their whole life into a portable. The other issues that are there are, of course, childcare. I mean, you've got all those people they're going to school, but before they get to school, we want to make sure that there's childcare, and especially the ability to be in your school. And so that you can pick somebody up after school. We've created a bunch of new childcare spaces that are in there, and I haven't seen anything that's been proposed by Andrew Wilkinson and his government right now. For them, it's a cost of doing business, and they see that as not applying to that top 2% of people that are there. But us, with John Horgan and the NDP government, childcare is monumental. My daughter has a 2.5-year-old, and I'm a happy grandson, or have a grandfather, and I have a grandson, and she was fortunate enough to find a very good daycare because of the system that we've put into place with the $10 a day daycare. We know that we're expanding the spaces that are out there. As the city of Surrey grows, especially Surrey-Cloverdale, we need those spaces.
As we know, John Horgan, he released the whole platform other day. Are you satisfied with all the promises he made?
Absolutely. There are some that are inside of there that are just so granular that it makes me smile. That it's like, oh, good, we thought of that, and oh, good, we thought of that. Whether or not it surrounds the people of Surrey. It surrounds the people of all of British Columbia. It is taking into consideration all of the people that are working. It's taking into consideration the youth. It's taking consideration the seniors. Andrew Wilkinson's platform. It's taking care of that person that's out there buying their brand new yacht, that's taking care of their other expensive things that are there. It's the top 2%. When I look at that platform that's inside of there, every single thing that's there will apply to a person that's a working family or senior that's in their retirement. And it should be making everybody in the province of BC feel good about John Horgan and his team.
As you know, we are in the middle of pandemic, and many people lost their jobs in these 6 months or 8 months. How a BC government will bring back those jobs into the economy?
Well, that's all part of the economic recovery program that's there. When you say people have lost their jobs, I've got a friend that has an awesome restaurant, and during that time, they had to completely shut down, and they've had to retool, and they've been working with the government, and they've been working with the health officials, because we want to make sure that when they reopen everything that's there, it's done in a safe manner. It's done with public safety in the forefront. When I think about what John Horgan and the BC NDP team is doing, is that there's a $1,000 part in there for COVID relief. And it's going to be able to go to the families that are out there, and they can use that on things that they need to do. Whether or not it's to pay for their rent or if they're pay for their groceries or whatever it is. Andrew Wilkinson, on the other hand, he's after this tax break on the sales tax. And there's two things that are just terribly wrong with that. First and foremost, it's got an $11 billion deficit in the first year. And the only way that you deal with deficits, and the only way that Andrew Wilkinson deals with deficits, is to reduce services. So those people that are out there that think the services will be the same, that's not going to be the case. And the other part about that, when you reduce the sales tax, it's only that top 2%, that person that's going to benefit the most is going to be that person that goes out there and buys their brand new boat, and the amount of money that they're going to save without the sales tax. But what we are doing with providing this $1,000, it goes right into that person's pocket. Their tax rebate of no sales tax, how does that come into play with groceries? How does that come into play with rent? It doesn't. I like to tell the story. I went out to the store, I bought a few items. It came to $52.25. There was 1 penny in PST. So his tax break was only going to save me 1 cent. Where our plan to give somebody $1,000, they could take that instantly and purchase groceries. They can buy they can use it for their rent. They can use it for their day-to-day things that they need. So the Andrew Wilkinson sales tax thing is not going to benefit all British Columbians, where our plan benefits all British Columbians.
As you know, housing is a big issue. Affordability is a big issue in BC. How BC NDP will address those issues?
It's housing. When I sit here right now, we could talk about it all day because of my what I've done within the city, and now as the candidate with Cloverdale, I'm looking forward to what we can do to make sure that there's more housing that's out there and make it more affordable. And when we take a look at Skytrain, if we put the housing in a higher density, we do change the land use that's there. It'll allow those young families to not have to worry about a car. That they can use transit all the time, so it makes their housing a little bit more affordable. We take a look at Andrew Wilkinson and what he's done with affordability. I don't know what's in his plan for that, but I know that us as the BC NDP under John Horgan will do all of the things to make it more affordable, whether you have to buy a car or whether or not now you've got an extra $1,000 to put onto the table and spend it appropriately. And we work with the City of Surrey as well with some of the lands that are out there, where maybe we can start purchasing some of those things and taking a look at the rental units that are out there.
Healthcare, because of COVID-19, everybody is worried about the healthcare and the COVID-19 vaccines as well. As John Horgan promised that if he will re-elect, if he will form the government, the COVID-19 vaccine will be free in BC. What is your take on that?
That's right. It will be free. There was never any doubt about it being free. The BC NDP government and John Horgan have made it very clear. Public safety is number one. Public health safety is number one. There is no reason to be thinking that we're going to charge for a vaccine. Andrew Wilkinson and their group, take a look at what they did with MSP. They kept on increasing them. And what do we have now? We don't have those. In the last 3 years, the BC NDP government got rid of that. There was never any doubt in my mind, and never any doubt in anybody else's mind, that a vaccine was going to be made available to all British Columbians at no cost. We can't put that barrier up there like Wilkinson did with MSP premiums, where people couldn't afford to do that and they couldn't afford their health care. Ours is really simple. I mean, when you have a vaccine, you're going to make it available, and we're going to do that in conjunction with Dr. Bonnie Henry and the Health Ministry as to how we distribute it. But a price tag on that, no.
If people from the Surrey-Cloverdale will elect you in this election, what 5 things you will do for the Surrey-Cloverdale area? Well,
the first one is guarantee that there's going to be a hospital there. I mean, that's first and foremost, along with a cancer center. I can guarantee you that schools that are being built on a regular basis will be done in that way as well. I can tell you that I want to make sure that the money that's there for those people that require it during this COVID pandemic, that gets to them and they get to spend it as freely as they can. I want to make sure that the Skytrain has connectivity with all of Cloverdale. You know, it's going up into Clayton, it's going through down down Fraser Highway from Fleetwood and it ends up into Langley. But there's parts of Guildford and downtown Cloverdale that need to be connected to the Skytrain. I want to make sure that the infrastructure that's there for roads, as we build out as a city, we need to catch up from where the Liberals were for 16 years, where we built up parts of the city, but the roadway that was sent out there didn't take into consideration. I think those are the main ones that are there. I think when we talk about what I want to deliver, and I want to deliver under the John Horgan banner and the NDP, it's something that is promised and it will be delivered on. We take a look at Andrew Wilkinson and his government and what they promise and what they actually deliver. It's a vast difference. What has been promised so far has been delivered, and what hasn't been completely delivered is still being worked on, but it's all moving forward. It's so important right now to make sure that there's an NDP government that has a majority so that those ideas that are there for the workers of BC continues to go on there. It's there for the families and it's there for the seniors.
Why people will vote you? Why Mike?
Well, Mike listens, and Mike is part of a team that listens to everybody else. Mike is part of a team that has John Horgan as a leader. And when people meet Mike and when people meet John, they meet real people. They're not meeting the elite people that are at the top 2%. They're meeting people that understand the issues that are there. I'm not out of touch. John is not out of touch. My fellow competitor, Marvin Hunt, is out of touch. If you take a look at his social media, you take a look at some of the comments that he's made, you wonder from what ilk that he comes from. He's out of touch. Myself, I've been a public servant my whole life. I've never been shied away from a door to walk into, to say hello, or walk into when it's on fire while everybody else is running out. When people vote for Mike in Surrey-Cloverdale, they get Mike and they get John as the leader of the province.
Any message for the constituency people?
My practice that I've had as a councillor, as a firefighter, is a proven record. When somebody has a difficult problem, I don't ignore it, I deal with it. When somebody has a difficult problem that's regional, we've got a premier that'll deal with it and go with it. What have we had in the past with the Liberal government? Somebody that just kind of looked away. We'll get to you later. Didn't make you feel important. When I talk to people, they may not like the answer, but at least they've got an answer. That's what they get.
Thank you so much and good luck for the campaign and for the elections.
Great, thank you.
Today we talk with Mike Starchuk and we will keep you informed about BC elections. Keep voting, do vote because there are two ways to vote, mail-in ballot and you can go in polls and you can go in advance poll as well. Keep watching FYI Media. Thank you so much.